This is this is Journey Home, and that's the beside. And we have this overhang, and it's a lovely protection from the weather. Um, and so people will, lay out what blankets they have and sleep here often. And um, it is not rare that in doing that they will be harassed by different individuals in the community. There's a group of teenage boys who were um, shooting unhoused people while they sleep with frozen paintballs last year, and that was pretty bad. And so now, when I arrived this morning, I see that there's all this broken glass. I don't know if you can see it or not, but uh, there's about four different broken bottles, and it was pretty clear that it came from the street. Somebody from the street driving by in a car, most likely because of the trajectory of the glass that was broken. So this morning for my practice, instead of coming inside and sitting on the pillow, I am pushing a broom and gathering up glass. And the reason that I'm deciding to go live with this here is, well, there's a few reasons. One is I want to illustrate that this is the culture that we have been cultivating in this country towards unhoused people, towards poor people, towards people in addictions or people suffering from mental health crises and don't have supports. Um, the overall um, sentiments seem to be uh, more than uncaring, but have a level of anger, hatred, and dismissiveness behind it. And so I come in, and some mornings there are um, people who are terribly traumatized by things that have happened in the night, right here outside of our building, or just down the road, or in the back alleys outside of the bars. And so I wanted to just show this for a minute, just so people can see, um, yeah, what a reality is. People oftentimes drive by and they see people sleeping on the streets, and they see encampments, and they wonder why people build these structures on the sidewalks to sleep behind. And I think many people just don't know. They just don't seem to know that a reality is that just sleeping on the sidewalk is enough to get you harmed. Um, and so I wanted to do that. I also wanted to remember for myself that this practice is a practice of meditation. That if I were to approach this only from my place of anger, which exists about what my friends out here are enduring, um, then I would be sweeping anger into every movement, and I would be reinstilling my sense of superiority in some ways. And I just needed a reminder today that we can bring our practice of loving kindness and compassion into anything that we do. And in fact, the reason that we practice it on the cushion is so that when we are pushing a broom of broken glass away from a place where somebody was sleeping, um, that we can bring that loving compassion and kindness and care to even this practice, to even right now. Uh, and coming on to do this sit here has been a way to invite you all to help me with this. This is the way that I am being helped today. The way I am being carried or held is to come here and be present. Um, so thank you. Let's take 3 breaths together. I'm going to go ahead and um, st- I'm going to stay present in the space, but I can't. I don't want to sit down on the broken glass, so I'm going to bring a chair out here. Okay. So just a few breaths together before I go this morning. Um, just try to bring your focus into your breath and let that breath bring you into your body right now. I think that it's um, easy for us to get wrapped up in believing that we carry a weight that is ours and ours alone. And, and for me, this this work of opening, holding ourselves open, um, is the work of recognizing that uh, this is the weight of the world. This is the weight of the world. This is what the world feels like some days, and that means it's not just mine. It's not just mine to carry. And I know that's an easy thing to say for someone who might have some level of social mobility or some level of privilege of acceptance. Um, I can walk into almost any business down here and they'll let me use the restroom. Um, they'll give me a glass of water. Um, they'll welcome me when I step in, not with suspicion. And that's not something that's allotted to everyone. I understand that. And so when it's coming down to my practice, then I have to not be paralyzed or silenced by that understanding of what privilege is there, but to hold that space with myself in a way that recognizes that this is a suffering, um, that it may not be my individual experience of suffering, but it's my responsibility to open myself to it and to be with it and to at least in my practice begin by recognizing the levels of suffering that exist in the world. And this can open what I would dismiss as my small sufferings to a greater level of suffering by someone else. But when you get there, um, you'll see that suffering is suffering. Suffering is suffering. And the levels of pain are different. The levels of disenfranchise are different. The levels of targeting are different. Absolutely. Absolutely. I don't think it'd be any sense at all to deny that we live in a world where there are entire body types that are targeted by systems and people who wish to uphold those systems that are built entirely to uh, function on fear. I think that that's a reality. I don't think that's a conspiracy theory. I don't think that that is. I don't think it's beneficial for us to pretend that that's not real and gloss over that for some rosy-eyed view of the spiritual existence of everything. I think that that is part of our spiritual responsibilities, right, is to breathe in unfiltered the realities of the world in which we live. Um, so recognizing that, yeah, there are bad actors. Uh, there are there are those who are here with pain on their every move, and there are those of us who are more likely to receive that level of injustice or pain. That said, when I say that suffering is suffering, what I mean by that isn't that that we're all equal in suffering, but that we'll take a couple of minutes because I want to touch the feeling of this more than the thought of it. When I have a practice of compassion, that practice is the recognition that I am not the only one who suffers. And when I have a belief that I am suffering alone, it is that very practice of compassion that opens me to be a part of a human experience where I can start to understand that the suffering is universal. There is suffering. There is suffering. Uh, yeah. And this comes directly with a level of obligation to sit with that suffering, to be able to sit with suffering, to not look away, to not turn away, to not deny, to not defend or rationalize or justify. Compassion means to suffer together. That's literally what the translation of the word means. It means to suffer together, shared suffering. And I am not in a prison cell. I am not in a refugee camp. I am not. Uh, there are many things that I am not. There are many things that I am not right now. I was not sleeping last night and someone drove up and unloaded 5 or 6 glass bottles at my sleeping body. Didn't happen to me last night. But I think that right now, for me, in this circumstance, the practice is to be with this and meet this with love and meet this with a level of understanding, both for the person who was sleeping and the person who was throwing the bottles. And that's really difficult. That's really difficult work. Um, and some of us find it easier to identify with one or the other, but it's difficult to identify with both at the same time. And that's a teaching that Thich Nhat Hanh shared um, over the many decades of his work when he was here, when he was alive. Um, his fantastic poem, Call Me By My True Names, really lays that out for us um, quite beautifully. And I think that there's work there for us to do. And so today, when I decided, well, instead of not doing my sit so that I could clean this space up, um, I decided to share this because oftentimes people wake up in the morning and they walk through here and this is already cleaned up. And that's true for a lot of things in our lives, whether or not it, that's true that we don't always get to see the absolute result of the pain, the absolute suffering. We see the effects of how pain changes people and we judge them and we other them and we form our separate identities and we gather together under banners and flags and we declare war against one another. Um, but if I can take a few moments to just bring my breath into this practice of sweeping this glass so that when these, this gentleman just walked by with two small dogs, when they walk by, they don't cut their feet. That I know is uh, just a moment of what we can do right now. This is not solving the problems. No. But if I can bring my breath to this practice, I know that I can hold it without resentment and I can be present in the moment and allow this to be real, not something that I can use my anger to circumvent. And we talk a lot about spiritual bypassing, but we don't talk about all of the ways that we bypass being with an entire reality of a situation. And there's a lot of ways we do that. We intellectually bypass. We use anger to bypass our feelings of compassion. We use um, a battle cry of separateness to bypass our responsibility of oneness. And this morning, I just wanted to bring you all in so that I could have some accountability and so I could be present and not just rush through this very quickly and then go sit on my pillow and um, talk about peace when I was cussing and spitting and hurriedly, sweeping up all this glass and holding resentment in my heart. I didn't want to do that today. I don't want to do that anymore. So thanks for being here this morning. Um, this is all I've got for now. And I want to get back to doing this work, but I really appreciate you all for being here today. It's a whole different kind of sit. So let's just take a few breaths together before we go. In through the nose to the bottom of the belly. All right. There's work to be done. Thanks, y'all.